Hello Legacy Savers, Marsh here. So today we're going to look at a couple of the problems from the worksheet you have. So you should have the worksheet in front of you. You want to take a look at, we're going to take a look at number 2, number 8, and also number 9. So first thing is, on number 2, they ask you to write the equation of the parabola. So you're given the vertex of -4, -3, and a focus of 1, -3. So the very first thing I do whenever I get to these problems is I need to draw myself a picture. So I'm going to draw myself a picture here, coordinate plane, graph my point of -4, -3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, dot right there. Put a V there so I don't forget that that's my vertex. Now my focus is at 1, -3. So I'm going to go over 1, down 3. So that's where my focus is. Now I always know my focus needs to be in the middle of my parabola. So that tells me that this parabola is going to be shooting off to the right on there. Then I need to remember to myself which way, when I had a right-facing parabola, that told me that I looked something like y squared equals 4p x, because y was squared when it was a left and right. So then I also need to plug in my vertex. So it'd be y plus 3, because it's opposite, squared, equals 4p, and then x plus 4. So this is my x and my y of my vertex. Then I need to find my p-value. Well, remember guys, your p-value is just how far your vertex is from your focus. So in this case, my p-value will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away. So I know my p-value is 5, because remember, when you were graphing these earlier, once you found your p, you went to your vertex and you counted that amount to get to your focus. So in this case, my equation of my parabola would be y plus 3 quantity squared equals 20 parenthesis x plus 4. And that would be the final answer for number 2. The rest of them, 1 through 6, look very, very similar to this one as well. Number 8. So number 8 talks about a bridge here. We got a lovely picture. They tell me the cables of a suspension bridge are in the shape of a parabola. The towers supporting the cable are 400 feet apart and 100 feet high. If the cables are at a height of 10 feet midway between the towers, what is the height of the cable at 0.50 feet from the center, and what's the height of the cable at 0.50 feet from the towers? So, very first thing I'm going to do, I need my picture. So I'm going to draw in my coordinate plane here. Okay. Then the parabola they're talking about is this one right here that I have drawing there. There we go. Now, I want to know about vertex first. So they tell me that from the bottom here up is 10. So that tells me this vertex of this parabola would be 0, 10, because it's 10 up from the origin. Then what I need to do is I need to start labeling some other stuff that they gave me. Towers supporting the cable are 400 feet apart, so that tells me from here to here is 400 feet. Now, I split this halfway down the middle, so that tells me that each side would have to be 200, right? Because if I had 400, I had to split it in half. Then they tell me that the cables, or the towers, are 100 feet high. So that tells me from here to here are 100 feet high. So now, first step on every single one of these problems, even if they don't ask you for it, you need to find it. You need the equation. If you don't have the equation of the parabola, you can't really find out anything about it. So let's find the equation of this parabola. It's an upwards facing, so that tells me it's going to look something like this. X squared equals 4py, because it's an up facing, and the p has to be puff positive, because it is an upwards facing guy. Now, do I know anything about the focus, aka the p-value? No, right? We don't have a focus sitting up here. We don't know what it actually is. So I need to find the p-value. If you don't know what the p-value is from the graph or from the equation or from the picture, what you need to do is find an ordered pair that's on the parabola, which is so convenient. We have two other ordered pairs, right? These guys right here. And to get to this dot, I had to go over 200 and up 100. So the ordered pair of that dot would be 200, comma, 100. This ordered pair would be negative 200, comma, 100. Right? Because I went left 200 and up 100. Now, with this ordered pair and my vertex here, I should be able to start writing the equation, because then I can find the p. So, since my vertex is up 10, I do need to change this equation, general form here. So it looks like this. X squared equals 4p y minus 10, because this tells me that the y is going up 10. Then, since I don't know what p is, I am going to plug in my x and my y from my ordered pair so I can find it. So I got 200 squared equals 4p 100 minus 10. I'm going to start solving for p here. So 200 squared is 40,000. 4p times 90, right? Because that's 100 minus 10. AKA, I'll get 40,000 equals 360p. So now, let's solve for p. If I divide by 360, I'll get a value of 111.11. On your calculator, it should be 111.11 repeated forever. So then, if I plug that back into my equation, x squared equals 444.44 y minus 10. So that's me taking that 111, multiplying it by 4, because it's 4p right there, right? So this is the equation of my said parabola. I haven't even answered the questions that they asked. Because, notice, they asked, what is the height of the cable at a point of 50 feet from the center of the bridge? But I needed the equation to find that. So if I'm 50 feet from the center of the bridge, aka right here, and I go out 50 feet, they want to know how tall. AKA, they want to know what's the y value of the point 50 comma y. So this part right here, all I need to do is plug that 50 in for the x value, because they want to know what's the y that relates to the 50. So if I plug that in, I'll get 50 squared equals 444.44 y minus 10. Now, you definitely could distribute in the 444, but that's going to take a little longer. I honestly would divide by that number, because it's just this times that, right? That way you don't have to deal with adding kind of a gross number and then dividing by that gross number. So 50 squared, I know that is 2,500. That's equal to 444.44 y minus 10. And divide by the 444 instead of distributing it in, kind of going against what we're normally doing. So then I get 5.625 equals y minus 10. So that tells me y is 15.625 feet. So what does that mean? That means if I go 50 feet from the center of the bridge, my cable is going to be 15 feet off the ground. So 50 feet away from center, I am 15 feet off the ground. Now let's check the next section. Next question. What is the height of the cable at a point of 50 feet from one of the towers? Notice that's different than what they just asked us. So I'm going to do some erasing here. Clean this up a little bit so we can see a little bit more. There we go. Now, they asked 50 feet from the towers, not from the center. So if I'm 50 feet from the towers, that means they want to know what's this value right here. So that's not 50 comma y again, right? Because this is 50 feet from the towers. It's actually going to be 150 feet from the center, aka the origin of our graph, right? Because this isn't the origin over here. This is the origin. So actually, this ordered pair right here is 150 comma some y value. They want to know the y value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in 150 feet for my x so I can find my y. So it'll be 150 squared equals 444.44 y minus 10. 150 squared, that is 22500 equals 444.44 y minus 10. Divide by the 444 business on both sides. So I will get 50.625 equals y minus 10. It's me doing the division there. So that tells me y is 60.625 feet. AKA, if I'm 150 feet from the center of my bridge, my cables will be 60 feet in length, or in height. Very big problem, lots of stuff to do. Big thing I do on these problems is you always need the equation. If you don't have the equation, you can't solve it. So I find the equation, then I start to mark in points for myself and what they want to know. Let's try one more here together. So I got number 9 is about searchlight here. So I got a searchlight that's shaped like a paraboloid of revolution, aka a parabola that we've taken into 3D. So it kind of looks like a, I guess the bottom of an Easter egg, if you want to consider that. That would probably be what would probably be the best vision of it. If the light source is located 2 feet from the base along the axis of symmetry, and the depth of the searchlight is 4 feet, what should the width of the opening be? Notice, no pictures, so I gotta start drawing here. So I'm gonna draw a picture here. They didn't tell me anything about where the bottom of the base is. So what I'm going to assume is that the bottom of the base is going to be at 0, 0. So down there. Then they told me the light source is located 2 feet from the base, aka I have a bulb right here, so this is 2 feet. And then they tell me the depth of the searchlight is 4 feet. So that tells me from the top of it down to the bottom of it is 4 feet. Notice, guys, I need the equation. They didn't say, hey, give me the equation of this parabola. That's not what they're saying. But you need it to solve it. So I'm going to start writing my equation. It is an upwards facing, so it's going to be an x squared equals 4py. Notice, guys, 0, 0 is okay. There's no problems with that. So I need to find my p-value if it's available. If not, I need to start writing an equation of this. Well, they gave us what the focus is. They didn't say, hey, the focus is 2 feet from your vertex, but they gave us a light source. And that's a very common thing for them to say. The light source is the focus. So I know that the p-value has to be 2, because its vertex to focus is 2. So if I plug that in, I get x squared equals 8y. That's the equation of my parabola that we're looking at. Now, they want to know what should the width of the opening be. So they want to know, if I can change my color here quick, what is from here to here. So that tells me I need to start making an equation somehow. Well, if I look here, this dot right here on this graph, that has a value of, I don't know. I guess I don't know how far away that is from the middle, right? So that would be an x, but I do know it's 4 up. So I know that ordered pair is x comma 4. Same thing over here, right? This would be negative x comma 4. Well, if I find x, that will give me half of my width, right? So if I plug in 4 for my y, because I want to find the x value there, so I know x squared equals 8 times 4, or in this case, x squared equals 32. Solve for x, I'm going to square root. Square root of 16 and the square root of 2 will work for breaking down 32, aka I'll get 4 square roots of 2, right? So that tells me that this piece of my parabola is 4 square roots of 2. That's how far from center to the edge that this searchlight is wide. But they want to know the full length, aka they want to know what is 4 square root of 2 plus 4 square root of 2. So in this case, I know that the width of my light opening will be 8 square roots of 2 feet, which would roughly turn into be probably just a little over 12 feet. Now, what I need you guys to do is you need to complete the rest of the worksheet to the best of your ability. Try each problem. Like I said, draw them out. The first step you should be able to do on each of these is at least draw the picture and start to label some of the information. I did post an answer key on Classroom so you can take a look at it as you're working. And then you have a video tonight for tomorrow's class as well. Remember, Monday you'll have some time to ask me questions, see if there's any problems you want me to go over, any of that nature. But until then, I'll see you later, Sabers.